Small towns of America. Big stories often live in small places. This is Small Towns of America, and today we're discovering Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, where history, landscape, and local character create a place unlike anywhere else. Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, a village on the Lake Michigan Bluff. A subscriber suggested that we visit Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, and it is easy to understand why this compact village stays in people's memories. Lake Michigan forms its eastern edge, where high bluffs open to blue water and changing skies. Inland, tree-lined blocks, carefully kept homes, schools, parks, and a walkable business district fit within only a little more than 2 square miles. The seasons sharpen every contrast, from bright sails on summer water to ice along the shore and bare branches framing winter architecture. Whitefish Bay feels closely connected to Milwaukee, yet its village scale remains distinct. The lake supplies the horizon, while generations of planning have given the community a strong sense of place. Before suburban streets filled the village, this lakeshore was a landscape of farms, fishing, and scattered homes. Whitefish taken from the bay helped give the community its name. In 1889, brewer Captain Frederick Pabst opened an elaborate resort on the bluff north of present-day Henry Clay Street. On busy summer days, as many as 10,000 visitors arrived to hear concerts, rent rowboats, ride a Ferris wheel, watch outdoor movies, and dine on freshly caught fish. A depot and excursion boat landing made the bluff feel connected to a much larger world. The resort turned Whitefish Bay into a widely known summer destination, years before the modern village was fully built. The most important step toward local government began with education. Families wanted a school closer than the long trip then required for their children. In 1892, more than 300 residents organized a village and school system independent of the town of Milwaukee. After an election on June 7th, Whitefish Bay Inc. incorporated that summer. A 4-room school soon rose on the triangular site now called Old Schoolhouse Park, opposite today's public library. The original school was destroyed by fire in 1918, but the small park preserves the place where the village's civic story took form. Whitefish Bay changed quickly after the resort closed in 1914. The shoreline property was divided into residential lots in 1915, and new streets and houses extended the village pattern. Earlier development on Day Avenue had already introduced one of the area's first planned residential neighborhoods, with paved streets and utilities. During the 1920s and 1930s, builders added bungalows, Tudor revival houses, colonial revival homes, and substantial lakefront residences. Cream brick, steep gables, broad porches, leaded windows, and carefully shaped entryways still reward a slow look along many blocks. Mature trees and modest setbacks gave the streets a settled rhythm. The result was not one grand architectural district, but a varied collection of homes that records several decades of growth. Among the village's most distinguished houses is the Herman A. and Claudia Uihlein House at 5270 North Lake Drive. Designed by Kirchhoff and Rose and completed in 1918, the limestone residence stands on a bluff overlooking Lake Michigan. Its rounded entrance, immense columns, balustrades, and carefully worked metal and wood details made it notable enough for the National Register of Historic Places. Public buildings brought their own architectural identity. Herbert W. Tolgren designed Whitefish Bay High School, which opened in 1932, along with several local schools and the village hall. Their brickwork and formal entrances gave a growing residential community recognizable civic anchors. Silver Spring Drive became Whitefish Bay's commercial center as housing spread across the village. The district remains compact, with storefronts, restaurants, services, and small businesses gathered along a street that can be explored on foot. Nearby civic places reinforce that center. The Whitefish Bay Public Library began in 1937 in the basement of the old Village Hall. A dedicated library building opened in 1955 and was expanded and remodeled in 2002. Across Marlboro Drive, Old Schoolhouse Park links the modern library to the village's first school and to the decision that created Whitefish Bay itself. Armory Park holds another layered piece of local history. A National Guard armory once occupied the site, and 2 buildings from the old Pabst Resort were moved there after the resort closed. The red brick armory, built in the late 1920s, served for decades before the property became a public park. Today, a memorial garden marks that history, while lawns and paths have returned the land to everyday community use. The site is a good example of how Whitefish Bay has adapted limited space, carrying traces of an earlier purpose into a setting designed for the present. One of the village's most enduring gathering places is Jack Pandl's Whitefish Bay, and John and Anna Pandl bought the inn in 1915. when farmland still surrounded it, and the restaurant remains in operation at its original Henry Clay Street location. Its Tudor-style exterior, warm dining rooms, and long association with German and Austrian specialties give it a character unlike a newer restaurant. Fresh whitefish and the Wisconsin fish fry tradition connect the menu to the lakeshore setting. More than a place to eat, Pandl's is a surviving link between the village's resort era and its residential century. The clearest meeting of village and landscape comes at Klode Park. At just over 10 acres, it is Whitefish Bay's largest park. A path descends from the Bluff to a Lake Michigan beach, while the upper park holds lawns, recreation spaces, and broad water views. Native plantings and stormwater features help protect the slope and shoreline from erosion. The scene changes constantly. Pale winter ice, spring haze, deep summer blue, and autumn leaves above waves. Even in a densely settled community, the lake keeps the eastern edge feeling open and powerful. The 2020 census counted 14,954 residents in Whitefish Bay, yet the village still reads clearly at a human scale. Its history can be followed from the resort bluff to Old Schoolhouse Park, from Day Avenue homes to Silver Spring storefronts, and from civic buildings to Pandl's familiar inn. Schools, parks, shops, and lake views sit close enough to feel like parts of one continuous community rather than separate destinations. Whitefish Bay's distinction comes from balance, historic architecture, and daily life, close-knit streets, and an immense lake. Thank you to the subscriber whose suggestion brought us here. This is a small Wisconsin village with a long memory and a horizon that never feels small.